Hi, welcome to a very sunny May podcast. It's red hot here. I hope you're all enjoying it. So are we. Sandy, we thought we'd have a news roundup for this month because we're continuing to get a lot of different emails on various types of subjects, and we just thought we'd try and dip in and out of quite a few and see where it takes us.
Yeah, it's been a busy month, obviously. The generation of the stuff that's been generated, rather, from the two adjudication podcasts is still coming in.
It is.
And we don't want to keep banging on about the same thing all the time, but we do want to read a couple of emails that have come in, which I think probably sum the whole thing up better than we've maybe done so far.
Yeah.
And I thought it just made quite interesting reading. And it does, I think, prove that there's an awful lot of people out there thinking on the same lines. We know this from conversations we've had and text messages and all sorts of emails and whatever else.
Yeah.
So we just thought we would read these two emails out. And
I've got to say, Sandy, before we do move on, it's really heartening that we're actually getting a huge amount of support for what we've said.
Yeah.
There is some detractors, but they're probably the people that have got something to lose. But we are getting a heck of a lot of support for changing banding.
I think one of the big problems we have in banding is apathy.
Yeah.
Right. And with that, we'll be touching on that in other things we're going to talk about later on. And getting people to openly discuss in a proper way some of these issues without sticking their heads in the sand is really difficult. And, you know, I speak to other people who are involved probably more than we are in this sort of thing. And they get despondent because they can't get people to engage with the real issues that are important. So I'm up for it. I don't worry. I'm not worried about people who are fed up listening to us or whatever else. You know, they do have a point to some extent. You know, I saw one, saying, it's like a bloody broken record. Yeah, we are, because it's important.
Yeah, and it's very important to us.
No, I make no.
You know,
no bones about it.
We no longer play. There's a reason for that. It's probably that we've had enough of it. But it doesn't mean to say that we can't contribute something to banding.
No, and I think, I think we're in a slightly unique position that we're seeing the bigger picture. I think an awful lot of comment that's made from people is based on their specific band.
Yes, and that is the main crux of it.
What's in it for us? What's in it for me? All this, and anyway, we'll cover that. Anyway, first email, which we do know who this person is, but we are going to keep it anonymous, just because they've asked to. But I think he makes some really good points, and as I said before, probably better than we've been making them. I'll read out bits of the email. I'll read out all of it, but we might stop and discuss little bits as we go. Hi, Sandy and Simon. I have now listened to both parts of your podcasts on adjudication dilution, and I just wanted to say thank you. It is reassuring to hear others, particularly those with broader experience, articulating similar concerns. Over the past 3 years at my regional contest, I have noticed that highly respected figures have been in the audience in multiple sections, while adjudication panels have sometimes appeared to lack that same level of top-level expertise. It did make me wonder whether individuals of that calibre are ever considered for adjudication roles at these events. From my perspective as a second section player, credibility plays a big part in how results and feedback are received. When adjudicators are people whose achievements and experience are widely recognised, it naturally encourages greater engagement with both the results and the commentary. There is a stronger sense that the feedback reflects real, lived experience at the highest level. Now, that's the end of that quote for a bit. I thought that really summed up one of the things we were trying to get on about.
Absolutely, yeah. We're getting to the stage where some judges I've never heard of them. And never mind experience at the top level, I've never even heard of them. And you just switch off.
Well, I mean, we've had loads of, I know we both have because we obviously speak together. And lots of people saying, look, if I have someone who I respect as a musician in the box, even if I disagree with their, let's make up an example. So your band goes and they're placed 11th out of 14, right? If that decision is made by a person whose achievements as a musician you can respect, then it's far easier then to accept that decision, because what happens, and we see this time and time again, you get this, well, what the hell does he or she know? They've never bloody done anything. What are they? Why are they? And this is what it does. But if you've got someone who has the credibility and has achieved as a musician in whatever form that is, you're going to, it's easier then to say, okay, I know this guy's a good musician, or this woman, doesn't matter. I'll take this and I'll read it and I'll learn from it. And I'll try and I'll move on. So I think that's quite pertinent on this email. I'll carry on with the next bit.
Okay.
By contrast, I think there are times when crit sheets, whether positive or negative, don't carry the same weight with bands. In my experience, they are often read on the day and then put aside, which may reflect a broader issue of confidence in the adjudication process rather than the effort put into the feedback itself. A conductor who I have been lucky enough to work with in the past was Brian Allen. Now, I know Brian. I've judged with him.
Very talented bloke.
Yeah, he's a top musician.
Yeah.
And when discussing one of the judges in the box one year, most people go to the bar, but anyway. And when discussing one of the judges in the box one year, Brian simply stated that the said person was never the best or a high flyer, but had the ability to get on with the right people. Sadly, it would seem that those words are hitting the nail on the head in this issue. So there you go.
We've often felt this, haven't we?
Well, we'll touch on that a bit later on, because we're going to talk about how some of these names, the names that sort of persistently come up, as to how and why.
Yes.
And we can keep that for a little bit further. And then he wrote back. He did write an email. Then he obviously had another sort of brainstorm and wrote back to us almost immediately afterwards. So his second message email was, further to my message above regarding adjudication, I'd also be interested to hear your thoughts on another sensitive issue. This is the growing trend of, frankly, bang average conductors using social media primarily as a tool for self-promotion and posing for the camera.
We regularly have a laugh about this.
He says, the number of pages I now see on Facebook along the lines of Joe Blogs, conductor, is in many ways quite alarming. From my perspective as a band manager and very average player, the conductors I have respected more have tended to share a few common qualities, and then he lists them. So, first one is a CV demonstrating genuine experience at the highest level as a player or conductor. Second one, letting their work in the band room speak for itself. And the third one, feeling no need to tell the world how good they are. They simply get on with the job. Social media,
Sorry, Sandy.
Go on, you go.
He's absolutely bang on with that. It's making me laugh. It's so correct.
It's getting more and more prevalent, isn't it?
I see some cringeworthy posts on Facebook from conductors, even saying I've got a rehearsal spare. So do you want to book me? And it's just cringeworthy. Just let people book you if you're good enough.
I sort of see what they're doing. People are trying to use this relatively new tool of social media to enhance their reputation, if you want. Or the things that make me chuckle is, you get this especially in the run-up to contests. People will post really great sectionals today at such and such a band. Hard. Everyone's working hard and trying, and everybody turned up, and you're thinking, yeah, that's just what you're supposed to do. And it's like self-circulating. Well done to you, to the three horns and the flugel that turned up for a 2-hour sectional. You think, that's just part of.
On the flip side, they might a conductor might get asked to go and guest it and do a rehearsal, and then you get a post. Oh, thanks to the people from so and so band, I had a wonderful night. Hope you did too. In the expectation, that all the members are going to write and say, "Oh yes, fantastic rehearsal and all this."
Great to work with the band. Thanks for the invite to such and such a band. The band sounds great. Bum, bum, bum. So you pat me in the back, I'll pat you in the back. And it's all this sort of, look at me, I've been asked to go and conduct another band.
Yeah.
This has been what happens forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
And you just think, I don't know. Well, I know why they're doing it. They want it's the look at me thing.
Yeah.
Look at how busy I am.
Me.
Book me. I'm out a lot, and if you want to get somebody good, I'm out a lot. A lot of bands want me. You should want me too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll finish off this this email. Social media can, of course, be a fantastic tool for promoting a band. Yes, it can. It's outreach and it's music. For me, though, it should always be about the band and the music first, rather than the perceived profile of one individual. Yeah.
Very correct.
What interests me most is that the true achievers rarely need to use these tactics. They let their results do the talking. I do worry, however, that some bands, particularly in the lower sections, may end up making trendy appointments rather than choosing the person with the most experience and expertise. I have discussed this many times with a friend who was fortunate enough to work with the Major, so that's Major Parks, and they often said that if he were still around today, his response might simply be less time posing, more time working.
I can imagine saying that.
Would love to hear your thoughts on it. It just seems that this thing, it gets out of hand, and it's the same sort of people that are doing it all the time.
Yeah, it is.
I know. I mean, when you need to post up that you've had a good band practice, well, maybe this is where we're at. I've had a good band practice today. The week before the contest, everybody was there. I mean, I don't know. Is that where we're at now? If you get a full band, you post it on Facebook.
Well, it's bizarre in the extreme.
But I thought there was a lot of that. Those two little separate emails. There was a lot he talked about. That was, this is what's happening now. We've got people contacting us saying there's a lot of people thinking like this.
Yeah, Sandy. In the past, when we were at Black Dyke or Fairies or whatever band it was, if anybody got too big for the boots, they got the nickname Mimi.
Yeah, they did.
And it basically was a gentle way of saying shut up.
Well, I remember one of the first things I ever saw in the band room in Queensbury was on the wall, and it used to sit up behind the bass and play Frank D. The Bucket of Water poem.
Indispensable Man.
The Indispensable Man, yeah. I mean, and it's not unique to Black Dyke. It is a well-known poem. You can find it online, and
it's about putting your finger in a bucket of water.
It's basically about, if you're getting too big for your boots and you think you're really, really important, it says, roll your sleeve up, get a bucket of water and put your arm in it. And when you take your arm out, the hole that's left in the water will be how much you missed.
Yeah.
And you think, wait, and this was right. And you were made to read it. You were made to be aware of it, but this seems to be,
it's gone mad, hasn't it?
It has gone a bit mad, yeah.
Now, one area I don't mind a bit of social media is where a soloist might be doing, a guest soloist, and it's helping promote the concert. Yeah. I haven't got a problem with that. But this just going along and doing a rehearsal or a sectional, it's just a bit Me.
Well, if
you want to get back in the box,
if you're putting these posts up, and it's basically a case of I did 4 sectionals today. I did the trombones, and then the horns, and then the back row cornets, and then the basses, and see how many likes I can get for that.
Yeah,
it's just it's nonsense.
Yeah, it is.
But there we go. Second email. Right, so this is another one, and I know this guy. I've known him for ages.
Yeah, very talented fella.
He is a very talented fella, and I think some of the things he says about himself, he's a bit heavy on himself in this email.
I agree.
But, so anyway, I'll read bits of it. I'll read all of it, but we'll stop maybe. Hi guys, re-adjudication, superb episode. I agree with every single word you both say in this episode. I've only judged twice at the Borders Entertainment Contest. I hated it each time because I felt like a complete and utter fraud. Well, he's not.
No, he's not.
I was judging alongside John Doyle and then David Thornton. They couldn't have been more helpful. Great guys. They were and still are my heroes, and it's these people who should be assessing banding heroes. They simply know what they are on about. Needless to say, on the very rare occasion I get asked to judge, I now refuse because I don't want players or conductors saying, who the effing hell is he? As players, some of us get a bit too arrogant and then think we are the dog's danglies, when in all reality, we're nowhere close. Interesting question about why people... So he's referring back to the list of people we had said in the previous podcast that had left the Adjudicators Association. Interesting question about why people like Paul Holland and Philip McCann aren't part of ABBA. If I were them, I wouldn't want to be part of a catalogue or list. They deserve a hell of a lot more respect than that.
Correct.
In my younger days, I used to have one of those professional cards on 4 bars rest. Then I woke up and thought, who the hell am I? Bloody embarrassing, really. We need a lot more humility in banding these days. Anyway, keep up the good work and thought-provoking chat. Cheers. So, yeah, I think he's a wee bit hard on himself. But, again, I think it gets across this point that we have to have people that we look up to in the box, right? And all of us need that.
It's so important. This is an issue that I think certain people are hoping will disappear. Well, I'm going to tell them, Sandy, I'm not going to let it disappear because I think bands deserve better.
I think, well, from the feedback we're getting, I think it's not going to disappear.
Well, from the feedback we're getting, Sandy, let's face it, ABBA are not fit for purpose.
Well,
it's that strong, isn't it?
I mean,
some of it we can't repeat.
No, strangely, we're getting messages from people that are in ABBA saying you're bang on. That there are certain people, how can you put it, pushing themselves. And there are some good people. There's some great musicians in ABBA. But there's a hell of a lot. I just don't understand why this list is is so long. You look at the number of bands we have these days compared to the number of bands we had 30, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah.
We've got probably 3 or 4 times the amount of supposed adjudicators.
Yeah. Now then, Sandy.
But less bands. I mean,
I heard a tale the other day, and it's from a very, very, very good source, that adjudicators within ABBA even undercut themselves. I heard a story of one adjudicator offering to do it for free of charge.
Well, this was for the area contest, and I know, and I've heard a few stories that people are offering to undercut their colleagues.
Yeah. By
doing it for petrol money.
Yeah.
And a roof over the head for the night and a sandwich or whatever. And then also, and we know this goes on.
Yeah.
Adjudicators touting themselves round to get work.
Yeah.
So
even to the point Even to the point, Sandy, where I'm coming to the country between so-and-so month and so-and-so month, I'm available to adjudicate your contest.
Yeah.
They're trying to get bloody contest organisers to pay for the flights.
Well, it's maybe not that, but they're thinking if I can pick up enough adjudication work, I can pay for them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean, yeah.
It's to me, the whole thing needs sorting out. But
it's just not good enough.
We've got to get to a stage where all of these judges have credentials that cannot be questioned.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not just talking about winning, the Armadale Entertainment Contest or the, whatever the hell it is, Ipswich Open. We're talking about proper stuff, right? Yeah. Or proper musical achievements outside of contesting.
Yes.
Right? Being a musician, doing things.
Yeah.
Right? We've got to just pick the best people. Contests are getting, look at the number of contests there are now. There are less and less contests.
Yeah, but more and more adjudicators.
Yeah, but there's less and less of those adjudicators. Well, let's change that. There are some adjudicators picking up a disproportionate amount of adjudicating.
Yeah.
So you've got to ask why.
Yeah.
But which gets us on to this next little question. About who picks the judges. So we're talking specifically about the areas.
We've had quite a lot of disquiet, haven't we, about not necessarily the judges, but who is picking them.
Yeah. There seems to be, there's certainly things being told to us that are quite alarming.
Yeah.
That the bands themselves are having no say at all in who's going to be judging next year's.
Yeah.
Now, what we will get thrown back at us then as well, they've appointed these people on the committee and they're the representatives, so they'll pick the judges. So as far as judges for next year's areas are concerned, I would urge all bands to contact their area secretaries now. Now, not
yeah.
in a week or two. Now.
We don't want to be hearing 2 weeks before the contest who you pick for judges.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't leave time for change.
Well,
judges really should be picked subject to no objections, basically.
That's going to be. I think that's going to be really difficult because what if you have a dozen bands and one of them says, "Nah, I don't like that." You'd never get a judge. You'd have nobody.
Yeah.
What I would say though is they need bands who are concerned about the appointments they've recently had need to contact their area secretaries now, this week, and ask for information on who they're thinking of appointing for the 2027 areas.
Yeah.
And I think all bands should be canvassed for their opinions, both good and bad, on the people who will be sitting in judgment over them. I think the bands have got to be involved.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking the British Open recently did such a thing?
They did. I mean, yeah, they put a thing out to all the conductors that were in bands at the Open, at the actual Open in September, and asking who they would like to see as judges and what test species they wanted.
Yeah. It's quite enlightening.
It was enlightening, and you've got to give them credit. Yeah, they're giving the bands the chance. What worries me is that for the regional contest, the area secretaries seem to be doing this on their own.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, not even involving other committee members.
Well, I can speak from a little bit of experience where the Yorkshire Committee is made up of very, very well-meaning people, but their experience probably stops at about the first section.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not seeking help, or they haven't in the past, seeking help from each other or from outside picking judges, and it shows.
Yeah.
You've got people who, bless the committee. I've got a lot of admiration for them, but when it's an area where you've not got too much expertise, you need to realise and take advice.
Yeah.
From people who do know.
One other thing I've noticed is that there is maybe this case of certain areas panicking about the appointments of judges because we end up every March with 2 or maybe 3 areas on the same weekend.
Yeah.
And people are saying, oh, we've got to get in quick, get our judges booked up before somebody else, gets them or whatever else. But what they're trying to do is, see, if you've got smaller fields in each section, right?
Yeah.
Say about 12 bands. You don't need 8 judges or 10 judges. You don't need 2 judges for the top section, 2 for the first, 2 for the second, 2 for the third, 2 for the fourth, 10 judges, or even 8 judges, right? You could easily do that with 6 judges.
Yeah.
And you can mix and match them.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that is just eminently sensible. You can get 6 really good quality judges. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That is all you need. It shouldn't be a tryout for some inexperienced judge.
No.
You should get 6 top-notchers. The
areas are not a place to try out judges.
No, we used to have it. We used to have Peter Parks, Walter Hargreaves, Jim Scott, all these people judging the whole section.
Yeah.
This is what we need. We need to get back to this. Also, if you have got just the 6 judges to engage, cuts down your travel expenses.
Yeah.
Right? There's no reason why a judge... I've done 4 sections out of 5 in Scotland.
Yeah.
And it's doable. You've got about 10 bands in each section. You can do 2 on the Saturday, 1 on the Sunday.
Yeah.
1 on the Saturday,
You've got enough time for a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it cuts down your travel expenses for the committee. And also, I think a good thing is it allows the assessment of relative standards between the sections. So if you're judging second section and third section, or first and second, you've got an idea then of to where how the lay of the land is as regards the standard.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, and this is slightly, sort of cynical, not cynical, but if you're judging say you're in Huddersfield Town Hall, all right, and you're judging the top section, and you've not judged there, it's the hardest area contest to judge, right? The top section in Yorkshire. If you're already been in the box on the Saturday for the second section, or the third section, you've got used to being in the box, the acoustic, everything else. I know audience numbers are slightly different. They're not that different, though. There's a fair number of people in on the Saturday. And it gets you used to the acoustic as well. These are important things to consider. But you don't need as many judges.
No.
Don't need as many. We've got less contests and more judges than we've ever had, supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think it's something, but I would urge, the main thing is to urge bands to contact their area secretaries.
Yeah. Well, in Yorkshire last year, I was quite appalled with some of the judging going on and some of the people in the box.
I just think the bands need to be consulted.
Now then, Sandy, another subject altogether is a survey has recently been compiled by the wonderful Kathleen Gaspos from Switzerland. For the benefit of our listeners, Kathleen is a fantastic cornet player, and she served time at Blackdyke, Grimethorpe and Brighouse while she was in this country. To great effect. She played very well.
Clever cookie. She's a clever lass.
She is. Now, she's done a survey on the effects of an early draw, and it's interesting. A lot of it is old news.
It is. It might not have been old news to her, but I know we've known about this since we were kids. Yeah. It's the famous thing of, the last band to win off number 1 in London was Munning Feltons or Goss, whatever incarnation they were in, and all this sort of thing. It's sort of anecdotal. Yeah. Sort of, history as far as this is concerned.
But she's actually looked into it and put figures to it. And,
she's done it properly.
Yeah.
And seen how the draw affects your chances. And it generated a fair amount of discussion online, and some interesting points were made. I was under, and this is only my anecdotal impression, that people were far more aware of this these days, or should be. And I've certainly seen, and you see it a lot in lower section contests especially, right?
Yeah.
First section down, first, second, third, fourth. I would say it's reasonably common for bands to win off number one.
Yeah, it is.
It has become a lot more, as if people are aware of it. But I think there is a bit of a stumbling block as to this permeating into the real top-notch contest.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's maybe where she's coming from. The problem you've got with it is, how do you fix it? What and how do you go about assessing what the effects of an early draw have? I mean, this was mentioned online by the wonderful Andrew Baker.
Yeah.
Just to hit the nail on the head. You know, I think if I was picking somebody to run banding, it would be Andrew Baker.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's just so on the button. But there's things about, you draw number one. I haven't done it that many times. I remember drawing number one with Dyke on Eddie's Rococo Variations about 2008, 9, 10, something like that. And we drew number one.
I've had a lot of experience.
Psychologically, you think, do heads go down? Some wag even put up, and I know that this has happened. The bands just aren't ready; they're too hungover from the Friday night. And I know that's happened in certain places. But there are other issues. But it did get me thinking about, and this ties into some other things as well, about the length of contests.
Yeah.
Right. So when you've got a huge field of bands, 18 bands, 20 bands, even 15 bands, because she's probably alluding a bit to the European, which has sort of emerged. It used to be about 10, 12 bands, now we're up to 15. And the big pieces as well. About what we're expecting judges to concentrate on. Right. Now, I did a very, very unscientific scan questions into Google about what's the maximum amount of time you can expect humans to fully concentrate on an intellectual pursuit. Didn't say specifically music. I tried 4 or 5 different questions, and they all came back that about 4 or 5 hours is the absolute maximum.
Right.
Right. Now, are we just asking judges to do something that's not doable? If there are so many bands, do they lose concentration? Do they begin to believe then that performances at the back end of the field are somehow better? And see, there's so many different things. Is the audience getting used to the piece?
Yeah.
Do they clap more? I mean, we know that the audiences are very, very partisan. So audience applause is no real indication. Certainly, if I'm judging, I don't take a blind bit of notice.
No, me neither.
But you can see where people will be drawn in to a piece the more they get to know it.
Yeah.
But there's also the effect of visual judging. I found a survey that had been done, proper scientific survey, a big music school in America, college, about the difference between listening to music purely orally and watching performers.
Mm.
And you're a lot more forgiving when you're watching, because you see in flamboyant conductors, soloists, violin solos or whatever, you become drawn in and you don't really concentrate.
Yeah.
So there's all these different issues, and it's not an easy one to solve. One of her potential solutions, go on,
Well, she's leading down a path that I felt should happen quite a while. I think what Kathleen's suggesting as a potential solution is that we have a 2 test piece contest. But that means about 10 to 12 bands maximum.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with that.
I just think
especially at the top level. At the top level, we've got to get used to playing 2 test pieces. I remember the English, what was it? The English National.
English National.
In fact, didn't...
Yeah, I did.
You had a bit of experience with that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was at Dyke for the second time then, and I thought this was a genius idea from Nick Giles. Genius. It was one test. It was a bloody awful contest in Preston, right?
Yeah, it was.
Crap. Totally, it was not required at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had gone, I think we won it once or twice. I can't remember. But Nick's idea, and he put this forward to the committee that was running this, was to have 2 test pieces. Right? It was used as a qualification for the European.
That's right.
And the way he dressed it up was, this is what they do at the European, this is what we should do with this.
Yeah, I agree.
And there was only 10 bands, right? And he persuaded them to use 2 test pieces, a set test piece and an own choice.
And there were different judging panels.
But it was great because we thought, no problem. We had big pieces up and ready and playing. We used to play stuff. We used to play Extreme Makeover on concerts, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so we could pick a couple of test pieces out and keep both of them going. There's only 10 bands there. But the genius of the idea was that he knew that 7 of those 10 bands couldn't do that.
Well, I were in one of them. I played with Brighouse, and they really struggled with it.
Yeah, and I thought, genius that. You're immediately getting rid of 70% of your opposition, who can't cope with doing 2 test pieces. Now, if we're talking about competing in the sort of contest that Kathleen's alluding to, the European especially, and I know Flowers won last month, and that was brilliant, and it's great for English banding, but they have been the exception in the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
Right? And what we need to be doing is making all of our top bands more capable of competing in these sort of contests. We need to be testing the bands more. But what will get thrown back at us is that, it's too much. See, this is the trouble. The dissenters on this sort of thing, cutting down the contests, are the bands that are going to get left out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, quite often, Sandy, them bands that might get left out are not good enough to be there in the first place.
Well, but you won't hear Black Dyke complaining about it.
No.
You won't hear Corey. You won't hear Brighouse.
No.
You won't hear Foden's complaining about it. They'll be up for it. They'll think, that's fine. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is what we do at Flowers as well. Right. But she suggested that if it's a 2 test piece contest, if you draw in the first half of the draw in the set piece, then you're drawing in the second half of the draw for the own choice.
So sensible.
It is. Now, when I read that, I thought, and that was one of her comments on the thread that it generated, and I thought, that's genius. I thought, that's a fantastic idea. I have since, though, come to the idea that there is a slight problem with that. I think on paper it looks great. So if there's 10 bands and you draw 1 to 5, you know that the next day in the own choice, you're going to be in 6 to 10.
Yeah.
Right? So it evens up that sort of the perceived bias, which I don't think really exists in a 10 test piece. Certainly not as much as in a 20 band contest, right?
Yeah.
But you would immediately have better quality bands. You would have less cup of tea bands, if you want to put them like that.
Yeah.
It's a better test of excellence over 2 pieces.
And you'd have a better chance of pulling in a decent audience.
Yeah, you would. My one reservation that I've thought about was if you're in the set test piece and you're drawn in the first 5, that the judges for the own choice the next day will know that bands 1 to 5 were, they'll know who those bands were, and they will know that those bands are going to be in draws 6-10.
Yeah.
Now, is that paranoia?
I think so.
Right. Okay.
If you don't mind me saying, I just feel that judges of quality won't be interested in that.
Yeah, and I was thinking more of the sort of, they knew it was, they knew Black Knight, Valencia and Flowers and Villebrook were all in the first 5 yesterday, so they knew that they were all in this second half this time. I don't know.
I think musicians of integrity wouldn't lean on that at all.
I just don't. I don't know if you can actually solve this totally, because it's human nature, human error.
Yeah, and I think Kathleen's also on about this all been done over one day, which again I agree with. Cuts down on hotels. We're getting the best quality that this country has got to offer with this. We haven't got the cup of tea bands where there's nobody in the hall. It's just demoralising, with all respect to them. But they shouldn't. We say we've got 80 championship bands in this country.
No, we haven't.
Have we, Eck?
No. It's all. A lot of these things are all tied in together, right?
Yeah.
What I would just like to try and do is to make our top bands competitive over a long period in Europe.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And if that's elitist, it's elitist then,
Yeah.
It's just, it works the same in football. You want our teams to be doing well, right? I don't know exactly what the answer is, but certainly it's another debate that's worth doing. I do think that smaller fields in top contests is coming, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, banders better get ready for this because it's inevitable.
We're in a situation at the moment where our two top contests are privately funded, right? That is not an inexhaustible pot.
No.
Right? And especially with things like cost of halls.
Yeah.
Right? Bands want fantastic looking halls, and then they basically piss off to the pub.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody goes in and listens. They're not interested. It can't go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a very interesting thing. I don't know exactly what the solutions are, but I think that's worth looking at.
Yeah. I even think this could be done at the Spring Festival, provided that there is 10 bands in each section. And it'll make for a lot better contest.
Yeah.
I mean, the income on the entry fees this year was 28,000 on 60 bands. If it were 30 bands, 14 grand.
Right.
Right. You can't tell me that the thing is, these contests need to be in smaller halls. They're in two bigger halls.
Yeah, they are.
And there's nobody going in them. So what's the point? Get a 300 or 400 hall, and
pack it out.
Yeah, pack it out, and the cost become much more achievable.
Yeah,
I have actually. I did some costs yesterday, and how they can't make money is beyond me.
Right. Okay.
I've done this for a living for years, and if you moved it to, say, Huddersfield, let's just give Huddersfield for an example. There's St Paul's over the road, and there's the Lawrence Batley Theatre just down the road.
Yeah.
If it were in St Paul's, there's all the university at the back of it for rehearsal rooms.
So, hang on. The new university building has a concert hall.
Exactly.
Which I played in.
Yeah.
Recently.
And, suddenly the costs are right down. That's a lovely hall, by the way.
Yeah, no.
And we've got all the facilities there. And for all the boozers amongst us, there's plenty of pubs.
Oh, God.
In Huddersfield, they're coming out of your ears. And hotel-wise, they can stay in Huddersfield, they can stay in Leeds, they can stay in Wakefield, they can stay in Bradford, they can stay in Oldham, they can stay in Manchester. The list is endless. They're all within touching distance. Yeah. I just don't get it, why we want to put bands in a huge hall in Birmingham, as lovely as that hall is, but nobody looks into going into it. we've got to get into a realistic world.
I think we are, though. I think things will change. We've been told things are going to change. And well, that brings us on to something we're going to talk about later, about the good things that's happening. One thing that I think is slightly, and we talked earlier about apathy. Last Wednesday night, I listened to Four Bars Rest live podcast, which Ewan Fox and Chris Thomas had Paul Hindmarsh and Eddie Gregson on, and it was brilliant. It was fantastic,
I enjoyed it.
Right?
Really enjoyed it.
You're talking Paul and Eddie, two huge hitters, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about people with gravitas and knowledge and experience and right
at the top level.
They were fascinating what they were talking about, right? And it did open my eyes a little bit, and just thinking, right, they think the same, they think that as well, and it's amazing. But the one thing that wasn't good was the number of people listening was pathetic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know it's frustrating for the organisers of it, but this is what happens, right? But they moan about the result or something, or whatever else it is, the peripheral crap, right?
Yeah.
But then they have two people like that discussing the future of brass band music. Where do we go? How do we re-engage with the wider musical world?
And nobody bothers.
Nobody's bothered.
No.
They're just not bothered. And it's a shame, because there was so. I would urge you to find that podcast on YouTube and have a listen.
I did check; it is still there. It's on YouTube this morning.
Yeah.
And if you've got anything about you, they need to go and listen to it, because it was fascinating.
You have to take note of what the likes of Paul Hindmarsh and Eddie Gregson say.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we do. But it's, apart from the usual suspects on there and one or two anonymous, pseudonamed people, there's hardly anybody listening.
Tommy.
Well, you might think that I couldn't possibly comment.
Yeah, Tommy.
But I just think, please engage with this. Even if you disagree totally with what Paul Hindmarsh and Eddie Gregson go on and say.
Yeah.
Just say, I hate that sort of music, it's crap.
Yeah.
Or anyway, it's just that the apathy thing is a real downer for banding, and that's what's going to kill it eventually.
Do you know, right? I really hope that Ewan and Chris don't lose faith in it, because I, for one, massively enjoy everyone that they do. Yeah. And it takes a lot of doing, as we well know.
Yeah, but it is a slightly different thing, is where it's, because it's live.
Yes.
You can chip in if you want to, and they might decide to take that little comment and discuss it. So there's that live element to it as well, which I think is great. But I think we just please show a bit of interest in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that brings us to the good, the bad, and the dodgy.
My favourite one.
Right. The good, I put this one in. The British Open Festival, canvassing bands for feedback on the Spring Festival, the one that's just happened in Birmingham. And yes, we know there were problems, and they've admitted that. But what I really liked about it is they're engaging with the bands and listening, and they're going to act upon the comments and ideas.
I just hope they get sensible comments.
Yeah.
And not, we need more pubs and we need this and we need that, because that is just not helpful.
No.
These people put in a lot of time and effort into these contests, and they need proper, and money, and they need proper feedback. If it weren't for these people, banding would be dead.
I do think that there's an atmosphere at the moment that things have to change now. Things have to change pretty quick, and a lot of these issues we're talking about, time is running out.
I'll tell you what, Sandy, we're in Last Chance Saloon.
I really
believe that.
You've got to applaud Martin and Karen Mortimer for taking the plunge and saying, right, we've tried Birmingham, we know it wasn't right. What would you like to see change? How can we improve it? And going straight away, not just hiding behind things and not doing anything and saying it's someone else's problem, asking for change.
Yeah.
And so hopefully there'll be something good come from that. So I think that's a good thing. We know there were problems, but at least they seem to be trying to address it. And it is a very, very important festival.
Yeah.
Not just the Spring Festival, but what leads from there into the British Open, right? Probably the highest quality contest band for band in this country, right? So that was the good. The bad.
Oh, I've hated this for years.
I saw this.
It's rolling up the sleeves to the elbows to play. It looks shocking. Something
popped up on my thing, Facebook, whatever. God almighty. I wrote a rant to you, didn't I?
Yeah,
it was a bit of a Donald Trump rant. It was all capital letters. If it's that restricting and uncomfortable,
take your jacket off.
Take your bloody jacket off, right? This rolling the sleeves up thing looks cheap, looks disrespectful.
Yeah.
I think. And what it smacks of is, look at me. I can't play the drums unless my sleeves are rolled up, and it's like somebody rolling their sleeves up to build a wall or you know what I mean? Cut the grass or something.
Yeah.
Right, let's get the sleeves rolled up. We're going to have God, it looks bloody awful. And especially when they're not designed to do that. One thing I did do straight away, and I said to you, I looked up Buddy Rich, right? And a couple of other guys.
You sent me a recording, didn't you? It was 8 minutes long.
8-minute drum solo on West Side Story. He's very famous for that. He's in a dinner suit, complete with cufflinks, right?
Yeah.
And 8-minute drum solo, right?
Yeah. And it's fabulous.
Other guys, I noticed, Sonny Payne, who used to play with Buddy Rich, Harry James. There's a guy called Duffy Jackson, played with Count Basie.
Yeah.
On a thing called Wind Machine. Watch that on YouTube. He's there in a suit, shirt cuffs coming out, and he's going mental, and it's fantastic, right? And he's got a bloody suit on, right? If it's good enough for Buddy Rich, I'm sorry, this is nonsense, right? I just think you got to stop it. Take the bloody jacket off. If you can't play in a jacket, take it off, right? Don't roll your sleeves up. It just looks cheap.
Yeah.
Right.
It does. It looks shocking. The Dodgy. Here we go.
This is another one of mine.
This made me blooming laugh, this did. A band from the European labelled themselves runner-up champions.
Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
I mean, what's this? It's got to be American, surely. Runner-up champion.
How many times have you been runner-up champion, Sandy?
Where? Oh, right. Well, I did write them down. I didn't know I could count these as being a thing, a runner-up champion. I'm 3 times European runner-up champion, 5 times British Open runner-up champion, and wait for it, drum roll, 7 times runner-up champion at the Albert Hall. It's all nonsense. It's nonsense.
I've got 2 Europeans. Runner-up champion, 1 Open, runner-up champion, and another drum roll, Royal Albert Hall, 4.
Ooh. See, it's nonsense, isn't it? It's just nonsense. Why? It should just be second prize. You won second prize at the contest.
I prefer first loser.
First loser, yeah. First loser champion, yeah. What a load of crap. I don't know who this is supposed to impress. It's just nonsense. You're second prize.
You've lost.
Yeah.
Go back to the rehearsal room and do some more rehearsal. That's what it used to do to me.
Runner-up champion. It's nonsense, man. But this is where we're at, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there we go.
Okay, so Sandy, I think everybody's going to be thinking we've been doing a load of moaning again, and quite correct.
Yeah.
Because one thing me and you want is for banding to do better. And we're not going to shut up about it until we see the first shoots of it doing better. And rest assured, we'll be behind anybody who wants to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'd like to thank the listeners for coming along again. Keep up the emails and messages. If you want things to change, contact your regional secretaries and get involved in making those changes happen. So if anybody has got any comments, discussion points that they want us to bring up in future podcasts, please do. It's Smith and Grezzy. Smith and is A-N-D, smithandgrezzy@gmail.com. So that's the end of the May podcast. Many thanks to all our listeners. Thank you.